Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison.
Hi, this is William Shatner.
It is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Come on, guys!
Oh, yeah, what's up, everybody? It is the Vegas Take on a Thursday. So glad you could join us. Fun show. Jam-packed. Going to be a fun few hours here and a lot to get to. Coming up a little bit later in the program, we'll be talking with UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez. Big game this weekend at Sam Boyd Stadium against Arkansas State. Some people are calling it a must-win game this early in the season if they are going to make it to a bowl game. We'll ask Coach if he agrees with that or not coming up here a little bit later in the program. Also, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. A lot to get to in the news, a lot to go over. We remember the story, Brock Turner, the rapist from Duke, who only got 6 months behind bars. Well, his victim is now speaking about it. So we'll talk, or at least talk about that and hear from her the hell that she's had to go through. Bernie Sanders, this is kind of funny. He, I guess a baby was crying at one of his events, and he told the baby to pipe down a little bit. We'll get to that. Disgraced Congressman Steve King, known as Steve, the KKK Klan member King, he drank out of a toilet at one of these detention centers. We'll explain why he did that. I'll give you a hint. It does have something to do with Ocasio-Cortez, so we'll get to that. Also, the latest on Kevin Hart's car crash. Police have released the 911 calls. It's crazy. But luckily, it looks like Kevin Hart is expected to make a full recovery, but we'll get to that coming up a little bit later in the program as well. So something that is trending on Twitter today, JD, I don't know if you were aware. It has to do with the Sharpie and Donald Trump. It's called Sharpie Gate. It is the trendiest word on Twitter right now. And, well, there's a reason for that. Let's get to that. As you know, Hurricane Dorian, it's devastated. It's taken lives from people, taken homes away, people, being taken away with just the shirt on their back. It's a horrible tragedy. It's terrible. And President Donald Trump yesterday showed a map of Hurricane Dorian's projected path. But here's the issue with that. It appeared to have been altered with a Sharpie pen to include the state of Alabama, which, by the way, was never in harm's way. So Trump says in the video, it's going to not only hit Florida, but Georgia. It could have. It was going towards the Gulf. That was what we had. That was originally projected. Well, that's a lie. Dorian was never projected to be heading toward the Gulf of Mexico, where Alabama has a coastline, and there's proof of that because not one reputable weather service, not one, projected that Alabama was in the path. In fact, just minutes after Trump said that it was headed towards Alabama, the National Weather Service tweeted out, Alabama will not see any impacts from Dorian. We repeat, no impacts from Hurricane Dorian will be felt across Alabama. The system will remain too far east. So what does Donald Trump do? After he makes a boo-boo, now listen, I can't think of a reason why he would lie and say that Alabama was going to be hit. So let's just give him the benefit of the doubt on this one and say he screwed up, as he does every day. But when Donald Trump screws up, he doesn't admit that he screws up, and he doubles down on his screw-ups. This is the makeup of the idiot-in-chief, Donald Trump. So what does he do? As I mentioned earlier, the White House released this map dated October 29th, this weather chart showing the states that could be hit in the National Hurricane Center. And a curved line had been added to the cone on the chart to show the risk that Dorian could move from Florida to Alabama, and it was a Sharpie pen. It was pretty obvious. So Donald Trump was asked about this, whether a Sharpie pen was used on the map. Clearly it was. And Trump's response is, quote, I don't know. I don't know. Now, for some people, particularly Trump supporters, they might say, what's the big deal? You're nitpicking here. First of all, this is a perfect example of how Donald Trump acts like a child. That's number one. This is just another example of it. Number two, this is a very serious situation. When the president of the United States says that a hurricane is heading somewhere where it is not, that is a serious situation. When he realized that he screwed up, He should have corrected himself, and nobody would have made a big deal about it. We wouldn't be talking about it. He made a mistake, but he doubles down on it. Either he or somebody in his administration is given a Sharpie marker to alter a map, and then when asked about it, he says, I don't know. Of course he knows. Mr. President, once again, you acted like a clown. You made a mistake. You gave out misinformation to the general public, and then you double down on it. And you have somebody in your administration, or maybe it was you, I don't know. Maybe you gave a Sharpie marker to Mike Pence or Kellyanne Conway, and they put out misinformation about what is turned out to be a horrible disaster. This hurricane is horrible. It's horrible. And Trump seems to be more concerned about his own mistakes and correcting his mistakes and doubling down on his mistakes than the actual hurricane itself. And yesterday was a perfect example of that. And I don't think this is nitpicky by any stretch of the imagination. I just think it's another example of Donald Trump acting like a moron, acting like a clown. He's the president of the United States, giving out faulty information. The National Weather Service, just minutes after these statements, basically said that Trump, no, that's not true. It's not going towards Alabama. It never was going towards Alabama. And then he doubles down on it with this stupid map and this Sharpie. I'm sorry, JD. This is another example of the idiot in chief acting like an idiot, acting like a clown, lying, and then doubling down on his stupidity.
It just seems very petty to me, Brian, that it's very nitpicky. It's kind of grasping at straws. I do agree with this. Donald Trump has never ever admitted he's wrong, and that's why I believe he's insecure. But this is blown out of proportion. And I remember seeing, I believe probably a week ago or so, but Alabama, Georgia were mentioned in the possible, as well as the Panhandle were mentioned as possible places for the hurricane to drop. So this isn't totally out of the question. And my question to you is, did Donald Trump doing this somehow affect the trajectory of the hurricane in a negative or positive way? I mean, is he going to get blamed for this somehow because he made a gaffe?
That's ridiculous.
A slight gaffe with a Sharpie?
That's ridiculous. Where did I ever say that he changed the trajectory of the hurricane?
Well,
no,
obviously,
he lied about the trajectory.
That's completely unreasonable.
I didn't say that. I don't know why you're bringing that up.
Is he a weather specialist?
Excuse me, you don't have to be a weather specialist as the president of the United States to get the facts right when you have people around you that are giving you all the information you need. All he had to do was go and check out the National Weather Service to understand that this hurricane was never headed towards Alabama. Never. And even as the president of the United States and the responsibility you have of getting the correct information out to the general public during a disaster like this, when he realized he screwed up, and clearly he did. Because if he didn't realize that, there wouldn't have been a Sharpie on this map. So clearly he knew he screwed up. And as far as what you say is thinking that this is nitpicky.
No, it's very petty.
Okay, so you think it's okay.
And I'm not saying that obviously Trump is wrong a lot, and he never ever admits he's wrong. And he should admit he's wrong. I'm a Trump supporter, and I believe that it's kind of disconcerting to me that he refuses to admit that he's wrong. And in this case, he was clearly wrong. But this is this isn't as big of a deal as it's made out to be. This is just another way to attack Trump. That's all it is. So
if you're living in Alabama and you take what the president's word, and the president says it's most likely this hurricane is going to be headed towards Alabama, and you give out that type of faulty information, and perhaps a family makes the necessary plans to leave Alabama, to go somewhere else, to border up their home, only to find out the next day that the president was wrong and doubled down on his ignorance. Would you think if you asked them if it was petty, would they say, yeah, no big deal, this is just petty? Do you not understand that people listen to the president of the United States at his word and what he says? This is not petty. This is a national disaster. Okay, this is a hurricane that is taking lives.
This is a hurricane. Hurricanes happen every single year in the United States.
Okay, this is a disaster.
This happens
People
every.
are
This is
losing,
nothing. This is actually much smaller than hurricanes in the past.
People are losing their lives. People are losing their homes, and when the president knowingly realizes he made a mistake and claims that the hurricane is headed towards Alabama, well, clearly it never was, and doubles down on it, that is not petty. That is the president knowingly putting out false information out there. And there are people in Alabama, I guarantee you, that listen to the president speak about this and perhaps made plans to leave. I don't think that's petty at all. I think that's a huge mistake, once again, by the president. He's showing truly how petty he is. And this comes at a time when you put on Fox News and you watch Laura Ingraham, who I think is just a horrible human being, horrible, claiming that the Democrats are radically transforming America. She did a segment yesterday for 10 minutes talking about how Democrats are radically changing the country. And what did she start with? The fact that Walmart is getting rid of some of their ammunition off of the shelves. And somehow that's radically changing America. Well, yeah, maybe people will stop dying in the streets. Maybe it'll help towards that. If that's radically changing America, guess what? I am all for it. If it means that one less mass shooting will happen in this country, I am all for it. If that means that one less person will lose his or her life because of ammunition that Walmart is taking off the shelves, that's not negatively, radically changing America. It's helping America.
Did you see what Trump actually said about Alabama, Brian? The actual verbiage. He said they could be in for some strong wins, and that was all he said.
We'll take a quick break. Hey, Johnny, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and get 50% off select plans for a limited time. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can get Babbel at up to 50% off. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language, and for a limited time, get up to 50% off select plans. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice at up to 50% off. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com for 50% off. That's BABBEL.com.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Hi, it's Matt Ray with America's First News, heard right here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDAWN. Start your day in the know. From Washington to Wall Street and covering the world, we've got you covered with the latest news, commentary, and analysis. Everything but the cup of coffee. America's First News, weekday mornings, 2 to 6 a.m. right here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDAWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Open calendar. What's my schedule looking like?
Next Thursday, you will be caught in an emergency flash flood between Park and First Street.
What? No, that doesn't work. I'm busy then. Decline. Decline.
Floods don't exactly work around your schedule. Disasters don't plan ahead, but you can. It starts with talking to your loved ones about making an emergency plan. So don't wait, communicate. Visit dem.nv.gov/preparedness. Brought to you by the Nevada Division of Emergency Management, your local emergency manager's office, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Talking a little bit about Sharpie Gate, and then got into Laura Ingraham on Fox News yesterday saying that the Democrats are radically transforming America, talking about Walmart taking down some ammunition that's radically changing America. Oh, my God, everybody's just going to take your guns away. The Democrats, they're just going to take it away. Well, she is an awful person. I've been saying that for a very long time. I could give you so many examples of why I feel that way about Laura Ingraham, but we'll take your phone calls, the GCI Guys hotline, which is 702 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. 702-257-5396. Let's start off with Brady. Brady, what's going on?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up Sharpie Gate. I think Trump wasn't drawing a map of where the hurricane was. I think he was drawing a treasure map. You could see you didn't give him enough time to put an X on the spot.
Maybe Brady. No, but in all seriousness, I don't think it's a laughing matter. I think when the president puts out false information and then he doubles down on it knowing that it's false information, I think that's dangerous. I don't think that's a good thing. And I'm not saying other presidents or other politicians haven't made those same mistakes, but it does seem like it happens with Donald Trump almost on a regular daily basis where he knows he screws up. He puts out faulty information. Okay, no problem. You got to be a little bit more responsible, Mr. President, but we all make mistakes. We're all human. But then he doubles down on it. All he had to say was, listen, I made a mistake. The hurricane's not headed towards Alabama, but then he holds a press conference, gets a Sharpie in there, and it's a doctored map. I'm sorry, Brady, but you can't defend that.
Well, actually, that's really not what happened yesterday. The topic of the day yesterday should have been Joe Biden's eye exploding on sleep. Now he's known as Sleepy Eye Joe.
Yeah, that was rough.
So you would rather talk about Joe Biden's eye than the fact that our president of the United States is lying once again to the American people?
Yeah, that's a joke. If you guys are bringing up map deep there, that's crazy. You guys are getting pretty bad. You can't handle the Mueller report.
Grasping at straws. I totally agree.
What do you mean? What do you mean you guys are getting bad? What do you mean you guys?
Honestly, I'm pretty unhappy with Donald Trump's penmanship.
Okay, Brady.
He needs to really work on that.
Use a red Sharpie instead, too. I think you should have.
Brady, what do you mean by you guys? Please explain what you mean by that.
You anti-Trumpers.
Okay, so because I don't like Trump, you want to label me into a political party? That's very small-minded, if you ask me.
Well, you're on them every day, so we just point out the facts of what you point out.
Well, then why don't you listen? Why don't you listen to another radio show that performs fellatio on him on the air every day? Would you like to hear that?
I think that's pretty sick that you say that every day on the radio.
I think it's
get out of that.
I think it's pretty sick.
Or what, man?
I think it's pretty sick.
Bring it up every day.
I think it's
stuck in your head.
Clearly, Brian is thinking about people performing fellatio on the president on a consistent basis.
That doesn't need to be on the radio every goddamn day.
If you don't like it, then you can turn the channel. What do you think about that, Brady?
All right, maybe you should get off the airwaves.
Well, then maybe you should stop calling into the show because you're a moron. What do you think about that?
Moron.
Brady, you're a moron. Yeah, hang up, you coward. You coward.
Hey, great call, Brady.
Why is that a great call? Why is that a great call? What did he say that was great? No, if you're going to say it was a great call, I want to know why you think that's a great call.
I always appreciate it. I always appreciate it when someone expresses their opinion, whether it's negative or positive in a passionate way. I consider that to be a great call. So that was a great call.
What was his opinion? I don't even know. Like what? He wants more guns. He thinks more guns are the answer.
No, he didn't mention guns at all. He was talking about
but he always calls
the fact that you are an anti-Trumper, which you are. He didn't label you into some category. You are.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
You are clearly an anti-Trumper.
He said you guys. He said you guys. That's not labeling somebody.
You guys, the anti-Trumpers, which you clearly are a part of. You are an anti-Trumper.
I dislike Donald Trump for a lot of different reasons.
So you're an anti-Trumper.
I don't understand why you need to say. I just don't like the guy. I think he's a bad guy.
Isn't that the same thing as anti-Trumper? I mean, you don't want to see him as president.
I don't know.
You don't like him.
But people like that are small-minded because they're not capable of criticizing the president in any way, shape, or form. So, if he doesn't like that term, then he can grow up. He can grow up if he doesn't like it, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. Don't call into the show. Don't listen, Brady, if you don't like what we're doing. You're the idiot that calls into the show every day with your pro-Trump nonsense. You can't criticize the president because you're a right-wing biased buffoon. That's why. I'll label you. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Carl. Carl, what's going on?
What's up, Carl?
Hey, Brian, JD. I got a problem. I'm getting a little frightened. You know what business I was in? I was
You're a psychiatrist.
Clinical psychologist.
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 Hey, can you help out that last caller? Can you clinically? What's wrong with that last caller, Carl?
He's poster boy for support mental health. That's the only way I can help him.
Fair enough.
Okay. Well, I'm getting scared, though. I'm being honest with you. If Trump was a gas station attendant or worked at a supermarket, I could care less. I'm watching. He lives. He's in the White House. He's the most powerful office in the world. I'm getting scared. I just watched him recently on that Sharpie thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that? I mean,
I did.
Obviously, he doesn't know that he's lying. He thinks everybody will believe him.
But there are people that call in that would rather talk about Joe Biden's eye exploding.
Yes,
They think that's more important.
Thing.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a mental
it's actually
thing,
a pretty
not
decent
a
deal,
physical.
though.
I'm talking about a mental thing, not a physical thing.
Right.
His cognitive impairment is going downhill very, very quickly.
I agree, and I haven't talked about Donald Trump's hands in months.
Well, yeah, they haven't grown any yet, but the problem is, if you listen to him, it's frightening me. He's getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know. I mean, I'm trying to put it in layman's terms. Of course, he's a pathological liar.
Of course he is, Carl. And you're right. You're absolutely right.
Let me put this in layman's terms. The part of your brain which processes the truth and lies. When you're going to tell a lie to somebody, you're going to.
Yeah.
And you think in your mind first.
Yeah.
What's the consequences if I tell this?
Well, there's no. I agree, and there's no question, Carl. He's a narcissist. He lies on a regular basis. I appreciate the phone call, JD. That was a good call, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a good call.
Okay. Oh, I didn't hear you say that. That's all.
Call.
All right,
yeah,
dude.
solid call.
I just wanted to make sure you said that. That's all.
I thought Brady's call was a little better, but that's fine.
I completely disagree. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Marge, you're next. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, Marge?
Good morning. Yeah, Sharpie Gate. That's an interesting one. I love the title of that.
It is kind of catchy.
I know. And then he explains himself that he suggested, but the other thing is that there's an interesting law on the books about alternating maps that are published and counterfeiting them or whatever else, that you could be fined or put in prison for 90 days. I doubt that's going to happen to the president because I think he's immune from, prison or whatever else. But it's scary that he says this.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the National Weather group said right after
All right,
that.
well, Marge, I want you to
don't
talk.
worry about it.
Marge, I want you to talk to JD right now because JD believes that it is not a big deal. Well, you and I are on the same page, Marge. You know that. JD thinks that it's not a huge deal. Go ahead, JD.
Well, no, I think that, first of all, if a family is going to evacuate their home based on the president saying there's going to be some strong winds, then they're stupid in the first place. I don't think that actually happened a lot. Now, do I have an issue with him not, again, admitting he's wrong? Yes. But do I think this whole Sharpie Gate thing is blown out of proportion? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Marge, go ahead.
And I have to agree with that. It is blown. My concern is, and I think we said this with the caller before, is that it's getting worse with him. It's akin to, Joe Biden, and I saw him on Colbert's show last night, where he comes up with these gaffes, basically.
Yeah.
And it's almost akin to that because everybody's questioning his ability, to run the country. I think that we're seeing that, very clearly with this particular president. And I don't think he's got anybody around him strong enough to say, listen, stop this. Let's correct these things.
Yeah.
Because, your own credibility is at stake now. How are we going to believe anything he says, even if it's right? That's the scary part.
I agree, Marge. Good call. Well spoken. And I think she kind of agrees with both of us. Always good to hear from you, Marge. Thank you. Is it blown out of proportion? I mean, we're having a little, or at least I'm having a little fun with it, but I think it's a perfect example of, again, the president of the United States putting forth false information, knowing that he made a mistake, and then doubling down on that false information. And I think for the president of the United States to do that, yeah, I think that is dangerous. I really do. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Congressman Steve King, disgraced congressman, you're not going to believe what he did at one of these detention centers. We got the audio coming up next right here, The Vegas Take.